All right, so good evening, Michaela. Thanks for being in the class. We're going to start this together now. All right, we're going to continue working in our document and we're going to record some things. So be sure, please, that you have everything that you need to record so that we can continue working on that way. All right?
Okay, good evening, teacher.
Hello, good evening. Okay, good. So let's then go straight forward to the presentation and let's go directly to the second strategy. We worked the first one, paraphrasing, right? It's important. Yes, I remember now, right? There's something we had to do. That is going to be listening to this just one time carefully so that you can see the words that this person is using. And also, well, I think the captions are just generated automatically, but I think that they are correct, most of them. Anyway, here we're going to listen more in detail, and I'm going to repeat some words. So let me please share my screen once again with the sound of my computer. Okay, now let's listen one more time. Remember that this person is going to talk about, in general, this is the lecture, right? Ethics. But related to ethics, he's talking about a dilemma. Because when you are in a dilemma, right, you have to choose something, but to talk about ethics, you know that that decision is going to have an impact on something else. So when is ethic right to take someone's life or to take or to let a person be tortured, right, to save more people? Some people say that that's not ethic, but it doesn't matter. The officer shouldn't let, right, the enemy torture the civilian. But well, you know that's why they call it a dilemma. So let's listen, please, and I'm going to repeat some words, and you're going to tell me if you have questions about this.
To illustrate an ethical dilemma.
Okay. So let's listen. I think it's very, I don't know, the volume is not that all right high, but let's try to listen.
Imagine a nation at war. An enemy has captured both a high-ranking military officer.
Okay, that is going to be very important. It's going to be this one, high-ranking military officer, right? So how can you explain that, Mikael, in your own words? What is a high-ranking military officer?
Okay, high-ranking. It's someone that is in charge of well, in charge of some people, maybe.
Okay.
He's like maybe director or commandant. I am not sure about the name of the rank, but it's someone that grow up in as military.
Yes, good. What you're saying is correct. The word is going to be the commander, right? The commander, or it could be a general, right? But yes, is going to be a person that has a very, very high rank, as it says, right? High ranking. It means that, of course, is in charge not only of a group of people, but perhaps also of that establishment, right? Of the place, and has access to very important information and can give orders, right, to do some military strategies and so on and so forth, right? So good. It means that the enemy captured a very important person that is a military officer, but it's a high-ranking military officer, right? It's not any officer, it's a person that works in the military that has access to very important information because of the rank, right? So the enemy captured that, and remember the word that I told you also in the last class,
and a civilian,
right? And a civilian. So that's a person that can have any other profession, but in other words, it's not related to the military, right? So two people were captured by the enemy, and they have these characteristics.
The high-ranking military officer knows the location of a nuclear-armed submarine.
This is what I was telling you, right? And actually here is where the dilemma starts. that information that is very important, that is what? The location of nuclear armed submarine, right? That can change the outcome of the war. That can be for the officer and his country or for the enemy, right? So that's a very important element.
Which, when used, could turn the tide of the war, resulting in defeat of the enemy and victory for the captured officer's country.
Okay, this is what I was telling you, right? If you use that weapon, of course, you're going to change everything in that war, and you're going to give victory to, right, whatever side gets to use that weapon, or at least has access to that weapon.
The enemy also has captured a civilian of the same nationality as the officer. And the enemy threatens to torture the civilian in the most gruesome way possible. Imagine.
Right, so over there, let's try to understand that. What does he mean when he says to torture the civilian in the most gruesome way possible, imaginable?
Maybe it's like a most horrible way, like a very, very bad way.
Yes, that's correct. Just because of the context, right, you can realize, and it is correct, right, in the worst way possible, right? It means that it's not going to be just something that is going to, well, make him be in pain, right? It's going to be terrible, right? Horrific. And that's why the officer also feels that he's in a dilemma, because it's not just going to be any type of, I don't know if any torture is good, right? But it's going to be in the worst way possible. Okay, so it's going to experience something that is going to change his life. And very likely because of that, that civilian is going to die. That's also why this still feels like, what option is the best? If you're going to let someone torture a human being like that, or to have access to weapon, and perhaps, I don't know, right? There are many possibilities, but let's keep going. After this, please, Miguel, you're going to try to explain this one more time, but let's try to get these words so that you can try to use them, or at least some synonyms in your explanation.
Imaginable, unless the officer discloses the location of the nuclear submarine.
Okay, and also this word, please, this is very important. What is to disclose? What do you say? What can you explain, or how can you explain, sorry, the word disclose? It's less, unless the officer discloses the location of the nuclear weapon, right, or the submarine.
Okay, disclose could be like show up, or well, I am not sure about the word, but maybe reveal the location.
It's good. So it's just the pronunciation is going to be reveal, right? Reveal. That's correct. Reveal. To disclose something is to reveal something that was hidden or was being kept in secret, right? Good. Let's keep.
Submarine. The officer is in a dilemma. The officer presumably has a responsibility not to just the civilian of his or her own country, but to the citizens back home. That
right, and that's what we were also talking, right, on Wednesday, the responsibility that this person, this officer, has with that civilian over there that could be tortured, but also all the citizens and all, right, the people that are there in that country. Even imagining that he doesn't, let's imagine that he's old, and because of a certain reason he doesn't have family, and the family that he had, right, lost contact with him. So let's say that he's or she is a very lonely person, right? But even being that, because of his position, right, he has responsibility with that civilian that he doesn't know or she doesn't know, and with all the citizens back there that, again, let's put in context, right, this hypothesis that he or she, or he or she doesn't have any specific context with them, right? But let's focus on the responsibility that he or she has with both of them, just that person and all the people back there. Oh, sorry. I'm going to go back. Good.
Our own country, but to the citizens back home that that might be attacked by the enemy unless the nuclear submarine is used. The officer cannot actualize both his or her duty to the civilian and the citizens back home. The officer is in a dilemma. This is a much more pointed situation about tough moral situations where it's clear what to do, but difficult, like a politician admitting in public that he or she has done something embarrassing.
Good, and that's something extra, right? But the main part that we got to listen, it's already done. So let's try to do it, please, Miguel, one more time before going to the next strategy. These two strategies are going to be very simple, but are going to be useful to practice, and you can practice like that by yourself. But let's explain this one more time, please. What is the dilemma over here, and how can you explain this dilemma using your own words? And also you can try to use the vocabulary that you've seen over here. Let's try to do it, please.
Okay, I need to report this.
No, this is just here. For me, this is just part of the conversation we're having now, and this is just for you to try to improve, right? Perhaps some details that you were not able to mention in the recording, to do it now, okay? But this is just here. It's not necessary to record this.
Okay. Okay. Well, the ethic dilemma. Well, he was explaining that in a situation when the enemy capture officer, a high-ranking officer with very important information, confidential information, and also a civilian from the same country. The enemy needs the information that the high-ranking officer had, but to get the information, the enemy could torture the civilian. So the high-ranking officer had the dilemma if he or she should help the civilian, or if could be better retain the information to help her or his country to win the war.
Very well, thank you, Michaela. That's great. You got to mention every important detail and the main elements that are part of the dilemma, right? What are the main things to mention in this dilemma? First, right, the information about the nuclear weapon, that is a submarine, that is in possession of a high-ranking, right, military officer, and another civilian that's being captured, right, along with him. And the main thing is that he, the high-ranking officer, has to decide, right, whether to help the civilian that is right there with him, or, right, as you said very well, to keep that information with him so that he helps, right, to that, well, to his, her country, but he would allow, right, the enemy to torture and perhaps very likely to kill that civilian, right? So there you go. That's again dilemma. Again, it's that word similar to Spanish, and it's interesting again just to get some vocabulary. But that's it. And this is actually here. I'm going to send that to you. I'm not going to play it, but I was also watching this one more time. You remember I mentioned this video in the chat. Okay, so if you're interested, this is a class, all right, a master class from Harvard University, and they are talking about that also. What is the right thing to do? All right, and here they are interacting, and it's very interesting because again, they are talking about those type of situations, and these are part of law, right? Major classes because they have to deal with this, right? As a lawyer, you have to be on anybody's side. You need to try to always go with ethics things, but also you need sometimes to realize that it's just sometimes going to be the decision because there is no way to know if something is going to be worse or better, right? To kill more people or just one is not going to make someone better or worse in a certain way. They try to show that. Okay, so take a look at that if you're interested. Again, and you have access to other classes as well if you take a look at that. That's interesting. But now we're going to go to the next strategy. I don't know if you have any questions or comments before going to the second strategy, Michaela.
No, teacher, thank you so much.
Okay, let's go then to the next one. This is very simple, right? It's very, very simple, but again, it's something that even right, you are years and years with English, many people still do this, but it's a very big mistake because there are many ways in which you can avoid using that Spanish word using an explanation instead of the word that you don't remember. Okay, so here we have an explanation for that. Let's read this, please.
Okay, explaining rather than using Spanish. If you don't know how to say a word in Spanish, try to express the idea differently. I think that people in orfanatos should receive more attention from. As you don't know the meaning of that word, restate your idea and make the listener understand what you mean. For example, there are displays, in which children without parents are taken care of. Those are the places that should receive more attention from.
Okay, there you go, right? So this seems to be sometimes complicated because you look the difference between this idea, right? Let me just mark it just in case. Between the first one that is very short because you're using Spanish and the second one that is very long, but you're not using Spanish, right? What is the difference that here you decided to say that word in Spanish, but this works only if the other person can speak Spanish or the word is not that different from English, right? But if that's not the case, it's not going to be a good idea. And also some people get used to doing this and it's not a good idea once again. Why? Because by explaining that in different words, you are not just avoiding using that language in order to practice just English, but you're also practicing paraphrasing. What is paraphrasing? Usually explaining something in simpler words, right? Or just explaining something in your own words. And here, this is what you're doing. You're explaining what an orphanage, right, what a foster care is without using Spanish. And that's great, again, to practice your skills. And when you got the time, of course, you get to look for the word that you didn't know or you didn't remember, and then you apply it. And of course, it's going to be easier to remember. Okay, so one more time, rather than using Spanish, is way, way better to just explain that in other words. And that's what we're going to do now. Here, we're going to record this in Canada. We're going to do it now as well. And one more time, you have to upload it now so that I can give you my feedback. Okay, it's very simple. You have to explain these Spanish words. Terco, right, egoísta, recaída, and vacuna. Those are the 4 words that you have to explain just in English. You don't have to mention the word in Spanish. All right, just in English. Actually, first, of course, here just to practice, you have to say, right, terco, and you say, terco is that person, that, and blah, blah, blah. Try to give me some adjectives if you can, or in your own way, try to explain what this is without mentioning the word. All right,
Okay.
here you have a limit. It's going to be 1 minute and 30 seconds. It means that you have to go straight to the point. All right, I'm going to give you first 1 minute to try to think of what you're going to say. All right, and then I'm going to give you that minute and 30 seconds so that you can record your answers, and then again you upload it. Okay, so any questions before starting?
1 minute and 30 seconds for the forward.
For the forwards, exactly.
Okay.
So first,
Okay.
I'm going to give you 1 minute. Okay, in this minute, don't record anything. Just think. You can, if you want, you can write, you can take notes. Okay, 1 minute to think in what you're going to say. Okay, you can try to write some things if you want. And then you're going to have 1 minute and 30 seconds to record the explanation of those four words. All right?
Okay. Okay.
Good. So let's do it, please. Let's have this 1 minute just to organize your ideas, to write some ideas, to try to think of what you are going to say. And let's have that minute, please. And you can start organizing your ideas now.
Okay.
All right. So we have that minute. Now, please, again, this is to get used to also to some strategies we're going to learn later on related to the TOEFL, to the Cambridge, in which we always have time limit. And this helps, all right, in two main things, all right, to have a better control of time and to organize our ideas and the things we have to say in a faster way, again, to deal mainly with tests, or sometimes even is useful for presentations that you might have using English. Okay, but let's start then, please, now, Michaela. Let me know if you have everything ready to record your answer.
Yes, teacher. I need to turn off my mic, right?
Yes, turn it off, turn off your microphone, and you're going to just record that for yourself. You upload it, and then I listen to it as you do it.
Okay. Okay. I'm
Okay,
ready.
good. Let's begin then now, please, Michaela. 1 minute and 30 seconds. All right, so we should stop recording, please. And let's now upload it. All right, so again, you upload it. Let me know when you do it, and I'm going to go check and listen to that, please, Michaela.
Sorry, just to confirm, I need to upload in the first week activity, right?
Yes, that's correct. The same place in which you uploaded the recording from Wednesday.
Okay.
All right, do it there, please. In case you submitted your recording, again, you go there and you have the option of unsubmit. You upload this new recording. Okay, you should have total of 2 recordings there. And let me know when you do it, please.
Mm. Oh. Mm. Teacher, can you see my files?
Let me see, please. I'm going to verify. All right, it should be here if everything was done correctly. And let me open this and this. See this one? Yes, I see 2 attachments, Mika. It means that you uploaded your recording now. Okay, so I have this one. I believe that this is from
The second.
Wednesday, and this one, right? Grabación. There you go. Good, yes, so I have everything, and also I can play it here. So let's do it, okay? I'm going to listen to this. Again, it's good that you can listen to your recordings as well. So as I'm evaluating, you can also identify some things that you can improve yourself. Okay, it's again a very good idea that you can listen every time that you can to your own recordings. That's perhaps one of the best ways of practicing a new language. So let's start.
Okay, Terco is a person that wants that her or his ideas, or that thinks that her or his ideas are the correct or are the best.
Okay, good. So thinks in the way of thinking, right? So the person that thinks that his or her ideas are the best. All right.
Of the ideas.
Okay, good. So there again, it's a way of explaining, but remember, what could it be? Remember that it's not always going to be that, right? Also, there can be a different way to explain that one. Perhaps it's not going to be the best adjective, right? Perhaps you can try to focus in that case on the idea of the persistence, right, that person could have, or how that person is not going to change his or her mind easily, not always because, right, he or her or he or she thinks that it is the best idea, but because it's part, right, of a tradition that that person has, or there's a reason right behind it. But again, it's good, but perhaps we can try to focus not on the idea that it is the best idea, but on the action of persisting or repeating an action and not wanting to change, right, because someone else tells him or her to do it. Okay, I just wanted to add that, but I believe again that we are good so far.
Egoísta is a person that just take care of
There,
himself.
as you're saying, a person, right? Instead of take, you should say takes. Right? It's just a person that just takes care of himself or herself.
Self or
Mhm.
herself. Recaída
Okay, good.
is
Yes, and also there again, my a recommendation to take care. It's good, but not only take care, because take care can be sometimes positive, right? Perhaps you can say that cares, okay, instead of take, because it's different, right? What do you think, or what do you know, Michael, is the difference between to care about something or to take care of something?
Okay, maybe care is like only me is important. Take care is like keep keep how can I say like
Try to use different words.
like
It's okay.
say,
Continue, please.
yes, take care could be like keep safe, maybe someone could be me or could be someone else.
Yes, good. That's a good way of explaining that. Great. That's what we need to practice, and it's great that you're doing that. And Michael, again, sometimes it can be hard, right? Some things are very simple, very basic, and sometimes the most basic things are harder to explain because there are not synonyms or there are not other ways to do it. But yes, to keep right being safe or to be safe, or again to do some positive things for oneself. And again, if you do that, that's not negative. But if you say it's a person that doesn't care, right, for the others or about the others, but for himself or herself, that's a little bit more selfish, right? But because take care again is not going to be as negative as when you care, right, about someone. In this case, about yourself. And good, yes, that's it, right? He doesn't care for other people's right opinion. He doesn't care for the what's happening with anybody around him or her. He only cares right about himself or herself, right? Or sometimes again, to be selfish can be related to money, to many things, but that's the main idea. So good, that's one. Let's keep going. I think you are with relapse. Let me refresh the page. All right. It's in the middle.
Okay, just take care of himself or herself. Recaída is like when someone had like a very bad moment before of had before had like a uh, before to have a like a risk in their emotion and but
Okay, and there again, I'm going to give you some suggestions in general afterwards, but so that we don't have again to refresh, let me listen. Just I think one more thing is left.
vacuna is like a medicine. Uh,
Okay, there you go. So good.
okay.
We perhaps we're struggling with the last two, right? And the talking about relapse, that is a recaída, right? You were struggling a little bit with that one, and the last one perhaps didn't work because of the time. Perhaps you started a little bit afterwards, or I didn't realize. Perhaps it was the 1 minute and 30 seconds. But then, how can we explain this word one more time? Remember that you can always try to think in the easier example possible in order to make it simple, right? So again, you can use always to be sick in this case, right? To be sick as part of your example, right? Is when you are sick, you can say, and you get better, but you didn't completely, right, heal, and then you got sick again, right? It's like going back to the same state. You didn't completely recover from something. And it can be in terms of your physical, right, state or emotional state as well, right? You can have relapses not only for sickness, but also for some other, right, status as depression or emotional, let's say, feelings that you get that are affecting your behavior or something like that, right? But again, if you keep the idea in the simpler way possible, is always the best option, right? But the last one, we didn't have the time perhaps to explain the last one, so let's do it now, please, Michaela. How can you explain vacuna? You say it's like a medicine, yes, but what? Remember that medicine, if you only say medicine to a person, right? Imagine that you don't remember this word, you are abroad. And if you say medicine is too broad, right? Medicine is a lot of things. What else can you say to make the person say, okay, yes, I know what you're talking about, vaccine, right? So what else can you say about vaccine?
Okay, it's a kind of medicine that is administered under our skin, and it's like it's like the fast way to be better.
Good. Yes, I think we're good. That's better. But what is going to be the difference between a vaccine and a regular shot, right? Una inyección cualquiera. What is the difference between the vaccine and a regular shot, right? Because also a shot, one regular shot, can be make you be better.
Well, the vaccine is a way to prevent some sicks.
Okay, diseases, right? Some sicknesses, but it's better if you just say diseases or illnesses. Good, So that's important, right? If you realize, imagine again that the person doesn't speak in Spanish and you don't remember at all, or you don't know the word vacuna, right? So again, this is just playing, but you have to be precise, because if you're not precise, and again, to be precise doesn't mean to be complex or to say many things, just to say the exact words so that the person can understand, right? So you can say, it's a shot that you can receive, right, to prevent viruses or diseases in general, right? It's like a needle, and you have like a cylinder that contains, right, the some liquid inside with some components that is going to help you again, right, prevent what? To get sick, to get infected. All right, so again, that's the idea, and you can always try to say the most important things over there, because again, the main purpose here is to try to communicate something that is not clear. All right, but that's it. I don't know if you have any questions. I already gave you some recommendations. The last one, or sorry, this one rises a little bit hard, but again, you can try to follow my piece of advice, right? Try to follow in the most or in the easiest way to exemplify this, that is via being sick. And the other ones, again, to try to focus on more specific characteristics for that person, so that it doesn't give like room to any misinterpretation. Okay, but that's it, Michaela. I don't know if you have questions about that.
No, teacher, thank you so much.
Okay, good. So just to practice and to be sure, how do you say these words in English? Do you know the meaning of all of them, or I mean the word in English for all of them?
Oh, I think egoísta is selfish. Someone
Yes, that
like
is correct.
but vaccine. And I don't know, terco y recaída.
Okay, don't worry. So I'm going to write those for you. All right. One is going to be that one, stubborn, and the other one is going to be relapse.
Relapse.
Okay. So stubborn, when you're stubborn, that's the meaning of terco. And relapse, again, can apply to any type of situations, as we said, all right? To be sick, or to get in one status once again when you don't completely recover, right? Or heal from something. Okay, so good, there you go. Those 4 words. Then again, we're adding some extra vocabulary. And remember, please, also, this is a good reminder now that I talk about that you have until Sunday, this time to record, right? You need to record 9 new words. If you want, you can add some of these words that were new for you. Okay, it's optional for you. You can add stubborn, you can use relapse, all right? And remember, you read the definition and you have to give an example. All right, and one more time, you don't need a limit for that recording, but try to go straight to the point. Just a short definition plus a short example, but that makes sense, of course, and that gives the specific idea for why you're using that word, and it's going to be great. But now let's go to the last one, please. And with this one again, we practice a little bit, and we finish, I believe, the class with this. So this is very similar to what we did, but now instead of avoiding the usage of Spanish, we're going to use synonyms of words that we know, but we don't remember because of a certain reason, or because you don't want to repeat the same idea, and you can use similar expressions. Okay, that's always, again, a very good idea to practice your speaking, because you get to add little by little new words or new ways of saying something. Mainly here, we're trying to deal with situations in which you don't remember what to say, but you need to be ready, right? You need to be ready to say things that are similar to that. So let's read this, please, Michaela. Don't be radical, say it differently.
Okay, and if you don't remember this word, manager, say the person in charge. If you don't remember this word, father-in-law, say my husband, wife's father.
Good. Again, right? You know manager, you know father-in-law. For a certain reason, you don't remember or you don't want to repeat the same word. So just say it differently. Okay, here, that's the piece of advice. This helps you being more flexible with yourself and helps you, again, increase your vocabulary, or at least increase how you can express, right, the same ideas in different ways. And that's always important, because you always repeat many things, right? I mean, in general, we always repeat many things, so we need to try to look for different ways of doing it, right? In our daily lives, we're always repeating ideas, we're always repeating words, so it's very important to try to have different ways of expressing that. And that's what we're going to do here. The idea is very simple. You're also going to record this, please, Kaela. And it says that you need to tell 2 or 3 synonyms or similar expressions for all these words. All right? Therefore, important, say, have, in conclusion, and get. Okay, so that's the only thing you have to do. You have 1 minute maximum. Okay, it means that it's going to be the word and you say the synonyms. Okay, therefore, this and this. Important, this and that. Or remember, it can be synonyms or similar expressions. Therefore, and you say a similar expression that can take more words, but it's up to you. Okay, it can be synonyms or similar expressions for this, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 words. And once again, we have 1 minute. We shouldn't need more than 10 seconds for all of them, so that we can have that 1 minute over there. And then once again, you upload everything. I don't know if you have any questions for this one, Kaya.
No, teacher.
All right, good. Now, in this one, in this case, all right, because I really want to, if you don't know synonyms, just try to say a similar expression, or as a last resource, you could try to explain the word. Okay, if you don't really remember another synonym or another expression, you can explain that. But remember, you only have 1 minute, so try to explain it very quickly, all right, so that you don't lose some extra time for the other words. Okay, so we're going to start this immediately. As I start with the timer, you should record 1 minute. Okay, I'm going to give you like 1 minute and 10 seconds, because perhaps you will start a little bit afterwards. But remember that you should have in your recording 1 minute, because if it's more or less, remember that because of the rubrics and the evaluation, that's well, going to be affecting the score. All right, so try to have the 1 minute to be sure that you have the 100 here, because it's easy to get the 100, but just follow that one. So are you ready to record? Let me know, please.
Yes, teacher.
Good. Let's begin, please. 1 minute. All right, so let's follow please the same steps. Let's now upload the document, well, the file. Let me know when you do it so that I can play it and give you my feedback now. All right, I'll be waiting.
Okay, can you see my file?
Good, let me take a look at that, please. It should be there, but just in case, let's verify. And it should be here. Okay, yes, it's over here. It must be the last one. Let's do the same. Okay, I'm going to play it. I'm going to give you some feedback, recommendations, and that's it.
Okay, and therefore could be like accordingly.
Okay, good. The first part, just because of the audio, right? It was not possible, but I think you only mentioned therefore. Now you're saying accordingly.
If important.
Good. So I couldn't hear perhaps then the first part. What is the first word that you mentioned before accordingly as a synonym or expression?
Therefore.
Therefore is the word, right? And what are the two synonyms for therefore? You said accordingly. And what else?
Just one, accordingly.
Okay, so let's do that. Remember, it was, let me verify, it was 2 or 3, right? So we need a minimum of 2. Okay, if you said only one, don't worry. Right now you're going to say that with me. So what is another synonym or expression for therefore?
Could be.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be the same. It can be similar.
Could be. I'm not sure, but could be because of that.
Not that one actually. In this case, no, it's not going to be the same. Why? Because therefore, right is going to be like the result, and because of that is going to be like putting attention to the cause in that specific case. All right. So what if you put attention to the result? Here you need to put attention to the result.
As a consequence?
Correct. As a consequence of that, consequently, or as a result, right? Or thus. Okay, so thus, as a result, consequently, as a consequence, both or all of them work. All right, but the other one is related to the cause. This one has to be related to the result.
Okay.
All right, good. That's one.
Something that is very significant.
Good. You have important, something that is very significant. So significant is another word that can replace important, right? So it's correct.
Say.
So what do you say? What else can you tell me as a synonym of important, Michaela?
Something that had like a big value.
Okay, good. Yes, something with big value, correct. And just to remember these synonyms. What you said is correct because we had expressions as well as an option. So good. Remember, you can say vital, right? You can say vital. You can say essential, right? As you said, significant is also a possibility. Okay, so those 3. Good. Let's keep going.
Communicate something verbally.
Good. That's saying, right? To communicate something verbally. Good. And now try to give me, let's try with synonyms this case. Verbs. What are verbs that you can use to replace say? You know that the meaning can be a little bit different, but the idea is this, the essence is there. What do you say? Something similar to say.
Maybe tell or told.
Tell is an option to say, to tell. They can be synonyms, correct? And remember that you can have a lot of options like declare, right? To declare, to state, right? To comment. So all those are not going to be the same, but of course you can use them as synonyms in some situations, right? You can say, right, the principal said that, or the principal commented that, or the principal told us that, or declared that, right? So if you say that, of course the meaning can be a little bit different, but the essence is there and it's going to be understandable, right? So again, this is mainly to play with synonyms and you can remember and you can apply those. All right, let's keep going. Again, it happened. Let me please upload it, or sorry, refresh one more time. And first, again, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to listen this time, and then you're going to give me one more for each. Okay.
Had like some kind of possession.
Good. Have, possession.
Maybe. In conclusion, could be like to finish.
Yes, that's one right there, the perfect synonym you can get over there, to finish.
And get something that I obtain.
Exactly, right? So in a certain way you were explaining, but you could say just get can be obtain and this, right? And that, but you got to mention actually the synonyms, so are great. So let's work on the last three, please, Mikael. What about have? What synonym can you give me for have? You mentioned one word that is possession, and they have the verb for that is possess, right? So what other verbs, or just at least one verb that you can give me that is a synonym of have? What do you say?
Well, I was thinking in to get, but is a word that I already mentioned later.
Yes, that's correct. And also there's going to be a little bit, well, actually a difference that can make that a little bit like more in a different state, right? To have or to get. Get can be like have only if it's used in the expression have got, right? But if not, it's going to be a little bit different. But it's an option only if it's conjugated in the right way. But what else? There is one word that starts with O, or you can give me other expression if you remember. What could be? Have is not easy because it has very few words that are similar. One of them is possess. Actually, you have two more. One that can be mentioned here. One that starts with O and one that starts with B. What do you say?
With B.
With a B. And it's something I'm going to help you out. I'm going to give you this case, all right? I want to avoid Spanish, but I want to say that. How do you say pertenecer a?
To keep, maybe.
And close, to keep, but it's not exactly to have, right? It's to maintain something with you. But more than that, remember, is belong, right? So to have, to belong. When something belongs to you, that's possession. Right? You can say that car belongs to me. It means that you have that car. And again, it's not a direct synonym because you cannot reuse them interchangeably, but the meaning of possession is there. Okay, and one more with O, and it's own, right? When you own something, it means that you possess something, right? So have, possess, own, and something belongs to you. The four of them can be used to give the idea of possession. Okay, let's just remember that. What about in conclusion? You mentioned one that is perfect to finish. One more, please. What could it be?
Conclusion to finish. Could be as a result.
Yes, if it's the end of something and you're giving that as the conclusion of something, it's possible to use as a result. If you remember our chart, right, it says, conclusions and summary. You can say as a result, or remember that you always have other options that can be more related to a conclusion, like briefly, can be like a summary, but in the sense of finishing something. You can say also finally, right, to finish.
Okay.
Finally, as a result that you said, therefore also can be here. But again, if you want to stay in the sense of concluding, all in all, right? All in all is a very interesting word, and it's very common to use it over there. I'm writing it in the just in case, right? All in all.
All in all.
Also, this is a very interesting expression. To round up. It's like to finish up, to conclude. Okay, to round up, all in all, as we said briefly, right? To sum up, right? That's also very clearly to make a summary of something, but it's also related directly to a conclusion. Okay, so there you go. In conclusion, to finish, finally, all in all, to round up, to sum up, those are the best options to talk about finishing something. As a result is correct if you are again mentioning some things first, and this is the real result of that. But if you only want to make a summary, perhaps the best option or the conclusion are those expressions that I showed you. Okay, so that's great. One more, please. Get. You said one that is obtain. That's perfect. That's the best and the, let's say, the most essential meaning of get. But what else? What else could be get?
Achieve.
Yes, in a certain way, yes, to get somewhere, to arrive somewhere, to achieve, right? When you get to do something, it means that you achieve something in a certain way. So yes, perhaps it's not the closest or in the circle of the closest meanings, but if you use it in correct context with other prepositions, it is possible, right? But remember, get can be actually many things. Get can be even buy, right? Get can be buy, get can be obtain, as you said. Get can be very similar to that, to receive, right? So you have many of them. So it's just the way in which you use it that is going to define its meaning. Okay, so that's it. That's actually the first part for this practice. Okay, again, it was just 3 strategies that are not new, one more time. But if you practice this by yourself, and you can not force yourself, right? But you can, in a certain way, give your right the motivation for doing this by yourself. It's going to be very useful. Okay, to get new vocabulary, to practice those words that again are hard to explain without using the real word. But once again, that's the best way of practicing and improving your skills. With that, we're finishing now. I don't know if you have any questions before finishing today's class.
No, teacher, thank you so much.
Okay, good. No, thank you. I'm sending the survey as always. You should be able to see it. And that's it. Let's remember, please, once again, you don't have anything but the 9 new words until Sunday. So please try to take advantage, Michaela. Remember that you have one presentation next week, right? And then you have the final presentation in the week. I don't know if you were able to contact, you're going to tell me later on, but if you were able to move that last week, you know that we have more weeks. But if not, you know that the last week from January should be the last and the final presentation. So try to be preparing that, as in this course you're going to have more free time because everything we practice is going to be in class. Okay, so do you have any questions or comments before finishing?
No, teacher, thank you.
Okay, so there you go. That's it again. Thanks. Have a good night and a good weekend, and see you on Monday.
See you Monday. Take care, teacher. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.